All right, so victims of narcissistic abuse and all that other goofiness. We tend to be targeted by the psychopaths and narcopaths of this world. So, ideally, we would want to minimize contact with the psychopathic and narcopathic individuals of this world. I want to enlighten people about working in today's society. If you join a corporation, if you get a job where there's more than 20 people, the odds are significantly improved that you're going to interact with psychopathy and narcopathy. So, for those that are of empathic nature, you want to minimize your group participation as much as you possibly can. I know everyone needs a job, and I know everyone should take care of yourself, pay your bills and pay for yourself and all of that. But codependents, all these guys, you need to understand that no matter what you do, no matter how you live, no matter how careful you are, psychopathic and narcopathic individuals are going to be around you. Unless you can make some other, start your own business, not rely on someone else to be pulling your strings, you're going to interact with these cats. And us as the victims of narcissistic abuse, we just are magnets for truth and magnets for these cats. So, the only thing I can tell you as to how to avoid these people is save your money and start your own business. Because this is about the 5th or 6th enterprise I've joined over the past 10 years that has successfully narcissistically abused me. And if you're socially intelligent and all that shit, and you know not to tell people all kind of bullshit, and you know to be reserved, and you've read the 48 Laws of Power and all that goofy shit, cool, good for you. Some of us just can't not be honest. And this is the people that I'm talking to. Like, if you struggle with being honest with people, if you struggle with being abused, socially ostracized, publicly shamed, if you shine in any way in your profession, and there are psychopaths, narcopaths in the group, you're going to get fucked up. All we can change is how we react to this. And it's very difficult when you're receiving status abuse and all of the other human psychological violence that these kinds of characters inflict upon us. It's very difficult to maintain composure, maintain all of that. So if you're a target for this kind of shit, be wary, dog, because there are very few jobs and markets that these guys have not infiltrated, especially nowadays. All the statistics in the world will never save you from the game. And I think men have it a little bit worse than women. Not that there aren't psychopath women, because there are. There really are. But to minimize contact and minimize your trauma bonding shit with these kinds of predacious personalities, I highly recommend to educate yourself on narcissism and psychopathy. Educate yourself on the kind of predacious personalities that you'll encounter. You know, there are tons of people on YouTube that will help you through this shit, that will educate you to be more mindful of what we say, and, you know, educate you to read books about that and all. You know, there's a ton of things that you can do to minimize your suffering. And that's all we're trying to do in life is minimize our suffering. But being a magnet for this kind of shit is tough, man. It's the hardest thing I've ever gone through. This this game that is being played on a subconscious level, and you know, based on body language, the status game is terrible, dude. It's fucking horrible. Those that haven't been in narcissistic family units are highly targetable for this kind of shit. They are prime targets. These people can smell it on you. So I recommend checking out Richard Granon's stuff on healing CPSD and emotional literacy and stuff like that, because if you were raised in a narcissistic family unit, you're not going to understand what's going on around you, the kind of game that is being played at your expense. You're not going to understand why you're being publicly shamed. You think you're a good person and you're doing the right thing, and there are people around you just abusing you, and you don't get it because you weren't taught to get it. So I really, really recommend that you take the time and educate yourself on how to deal with destructive personalities thus. If you're somewhat socially intelligent, I think that you won't have as much problem with this, but if you're not, like I was, and most codependent people are, you know, they were raised by cults, so they don't understand, hey, I probably shouldn't tell everybody my problems and all of this nonsense. And, you know, maybe everybody that is charming to me is you know, good for me. You know, maybe some of these charming people are potentially bad people. We don't know this. So please do yourselves a favor And if you're trying to heal from CPTSD and trying to get your life on the right track, do yourselves a favor and work hard at understanding the nature of narcissistic abuse. Understand the nature of everything narcissistic. Because all psychopaths, borderlines, cluster Bs all have a very strict correlation to narcissistic behaviors. So, educate yourself on it. Read the Judith Orliffs and I've found a lot from Sam Vaknin, Richard Grannon. I listened to a lot of the philosophy of Grannon and Pierre Exo, the Tentacle Croissant. Educate yourself on this shit, because the world that we're living in is not conducive to empathic people, codependent people. In large groups, psychopathy is the dominant ideology. And that's what we're dealing with, is ideologies. So, educate yourself on this, and please be careful. I don't want to see anybody oppressed by this shit any more than I have been oppressed by it. These people are terribly destructive. And our programming as codependents and people pleasers and all of that good stuff is terribly conducive to being preyed upon by these people. I'm going to try to write down more specific things in specific videos. And I put this on the backdrop of, some WoW thing I was playing. I realize now how much video games and all of this nonsense anesthetize men in general to the reality of what's going on. So just please educate yourself. Just educate yourself on it. Because if you're a prime target for these people, they will do anything and everything and go to every length that they possibly can to win against you. And winning against you is tyrannizing you and suppressing you, and that's what we don't want. Thank you for your time and attention.